This is a topic worth our full attention. Stroke is one of the leading causes of death and disability in the United States, and it doesn't discriminate by gender. But when we look closer, the risk factors, outcomes, and even symptoms can differ significantly between men and women. According to the American Heart Association, nearly 60% of stroke deaths occur in women, and women are not only more likely to have a stroke later in life, but also more likely to live alone when it happens, which can delay treatment. Welcome back to the channel. Today we will explore a very important topic for health. Why women over 60 are more at risk for stroke than men, and what we can do to change that. Let's start this journey together with understanding. Because the truth is, stroke isn't just an event. It's a process that begins with the way our bodies age, how our blood vessels respond to time, and how our hormones shift after menopause. But here's the empowering part. Most strokes are preventable. That's right. Up to 80% of strokes can be avoided with lifestyle and medical care. By understanding the risks specific to older women, we can take smart, steady steps to protect our health, stay active, and live fully. In this series, we'll walk through the layers of stroke risk in aging women, from biology and hormones to lifestyle and mental well-being. We'll look at what science says, share real stories, and offer practical tips you can use today. Why is stroke risk different for women over 60? At first glance, it might not seem fair. Many women over 60 live healthy lives, eat balanced meals, stay socially connected, and go for regular checkups. And yet, when it comes to stroke, the numbers don't lie. Women have a higher lifetime risk of stroke than men. They tend to experience strokes at older ages, when the body is more fragile. Recovery is often harder for women due to other health conditions and social factors. The reasons are complex but deeply rooted in how our bodies change with age. From vascular changes to hormone shifts, and even healthcare differences, stroke risk builds quietly over time. Let's look at some key factors that make stroke risk unique for older women. Longer life expectancy. More years equals more time for risk to build. Menopause and estrogen decline. Estrogen helps protect arteries. Its absence raises risk. Greater prevalence of hypertension, atrial fibrillation, and diabetes in older age. Delayed recognition of stroke symptoms in women. What is a stroke, really? A stroke happens when blood flow to the brain is blocked or reduced. Without oxygen, brain cells begin to die, fast. That's why quick recognition and response are critical. There are two main types. Ischemic stroke, 87% of cases, caused by a blood clot or blocked artery. Hemorrhagic stroke, caused by a ruptured blood vessel bleeding into the brain. There's also TIA, transient ischemic attack, often called a mini-stroke, which temporarily blocks blood flow but doesn't cause permanent damage. However, a TIA is a serious warning sign. A silent, growing threat. What makes stroke particularly dangerous for women over 60 is how quietly it can develop. Many of the risk factors, high blood pressure, cholesterol, and arrhythmia, don't cause symptoms until a stroke occurs. That's why prevention must be proactive. For instance, high blood pressure is the #1 modifiable risk factor. After menopause, women's risk of hypertension rises significantly. The protective effects of estrogen diminish, leading to stiffer arteries and a greater workload on the heart. Real voices, real risks. Consider Margaret, age 72, a retired teacher living in Ohio. She exercised 3 times a week, managed her diabetes, and didn't smoke. But one morning she struggled to speak and felt her right arm weaken. Her husband recognized the signs and called 911. She was lucky. Treatment came quickly, and she recovered. Or take Joanne, 68, who brushed off fatigue, imbalance, and confusion as stress. Her stroke wasn't diagnosed until 12 hours later. Recovery was long, and some of her independence was lost. Her story is more common than you might think. These examples remind us, stroke doesn't always come with dramatic symptoms. Especially in women, signs can be subtle. Fatigue, nausea, disorientation, and mistaken for other problems. The FAST test. Know the signs. To act quickly, remember, FAST, face drooping arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call 911. If any of these occur, even briefly, seek emergency help. Time lost is brain lost. Social and emotional health play a role. Women over 60 are more likely to live alone, especially after a spouse passes. That isolation can delay stroke recognition and treatment. It can also lead to higher levels of stress and depression, both of which are linked to stroke risk. Studies have found that chronic stress and loneliness are just as damaging as traditional physical risk factors. They raise blood pressure, affect sleep, and weaken the immune system. So staying socially engaged, whether through family, community, church, or clubs, is not just emotionally uplifting, it's medically protective. Take action, not fear. This channel is about hope, not fear. Stroke is serious, but so is your power to reduce the risk. Through small, daily habits, regular checkups, and listening to your body, you can stay ahead. In upcoming sections, we'll break down the key contributors to stroke risk. The impact of longevity and aging, Section 2. Hormonal changes after menopause, Section 3. How conditions like high blood pressure and atrial fibrillation show up differently in women, Section 4. Lifestyle, nutrition, and mental well-being, Section 5. I'd love to hear from you. Have you or someone close to you experienced stroke or been warned of the risk? What changed for you after 60? Your story can inspire someone else. Please share in the comments below. We're in this together, because healthcare isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about knowing, growing, and making every day count. Section 2. Longevity and age as primary drivers. Let's start with a simple but powerful truth. The longer we live, the more our health changes. That sounds obvious. But when it comes to stroke, this change becomes especially important, because age is the single strongest predictor of stroke risk. And since women tend to live longer than men, this factor alone shifts the balance. Across the United States, women live on average about 5 to 6 years longer than men. That's a gift, but also a responsibility. Because stroke risk doesn't peak at 60 or even 70, it keeps climbing as we move into our 80s and beyond. In fact, according to the American Heart Association, the average age for a first stroke in women is 75, compared to about 69 in men. That means many women are not just living long enough to be at risk. They're entering the most vulnerable years. Age changes the brain and the vessels. As we get older, the small vessels in our brain, called cerebral microvessels, start to lose their flexibility. Blood doesn't flow as smoothly, and the risk of small clots increases. Over time, the inner lining of our arteries, the endothelium, gets damaged. This is even more true in women post-menopause, when estrogen's protective effect fades. By the time a woman reaches her 70s or 80s, these vascular changes may not cause symptoms every day, but they set the stage for stroke, especially if combined with high blood pressure or an irregular heartbeat like atrial fibrillation. Why women outnumber men in stroke care units. Walk into a stroke rehabilitation center, and you'll often notice something: more women than men. This isn't just anecdotal, it reflects reality. Because women live longer, they're more likely to reach the ages where stroke is most common, and more likely to be alone when it happens. And that has real consequences. A woman in her 80s who has a stroke may not have a partner nearby to recognize symptoms. She might delay calling for help. And even if she does get treatment, her recovery may be more complicated because of frailty, bone loss, or cognitive decline. Lifetime versus annual risk. Here's something many people don't realize. Even though men tend to have strokes earlier, women have a higher lifetime risk of stroke. That's because they simply live longer. And even if their yearly risk at 60 is the same as a man's, those extra years add up. Imagine two people, a man who lives to 75 and a woman who lives to 85. The woman has 10 more years of potential risk exposure. Those years aren't just numbers, they're windows in which high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, or silent vascular disease can slowly increase stroke risk without obvious warning signs. Real-life story, a subtle shift. Take, for example, Linda, age 76. She was always active, ate well, and never smoked. But over time, she noticed her blood pressure creeping up. Her doctor adjusted her medications, but she didn't feel any different. No chest pain, no headaches, no dizziness. Then one morning, she had trouble speaking and couldn't lift her coffee mug. She was having a mini stroke. or TIA, transient ischemic attack, a warning sign that something was wrong in her brain's blood supply. Her story is not uncommon, and it shows us that stroke often arrives without drama, but with damage. The cumulative effect of aging. Another reason age plays such a big role is that health conditions pile up. A 62-year-old woman might manage just 1 or 2 chronic issues, maybe mild hypertension and some joint stiffness. But by 75, she may also be dealing with type 2 diabetes, thyroid changes, sleep disturbances, and cognitive decline. Each of these conditions alone may not seem dramatic, but together, they increase stroke risk by affecting blood vessels, metabolism, and the heart. It's like a puzzle. The more pieces that fit together, the clearer the picture becomes. Unfortunately, in this case, the picture is one of growing stroke vulnerability. Frailty and muscle loss matter. 2. There's another aspect of aging that matters more than we often think. Frailty. As muscle mass declines with age, especially after menopause, women are more prone to falls, inactivity, and even malnutrition. These issues don't directly cause stroke, but they make recovery harder and reduce the body's ability to protect itself. Frailty also masks early symptoms. A stroke that starts with fatigue or imbalance might just be written off as a bad day. But in truth, that delay in response can mean the difference between full recovery and long-term disability. Aging and silent strokes. One more concern: silent strokes. These are small, unnoticed strokes that don't cause sudden symptoms, but leave tiny areas of damage in the brain. Over time, they can add up and increase the risk for a major stroke, dementia, or memory loss. Women in their 70s and 80s are more likely to have these silent strokes, especially if they have high blood pressure or atrial fibrillation. Often, they're only discovered on brain scans done for another reason, maybe after a fall or memory test. But the damage is real. And again, this silent accumulation of risk is part of why stroke shows up later, and more seriously, in older women. Healthcare gaps in older age. Unfortunately, as women age, they may also receive less aggressive care. Studies have shown that women are less likely to receive clot-busting medication after a stroke, and less likely to be referred for rehab. Some of this is due to age bias, or even unconscious assumptions about what a good outcome looks like for an older person. But this attitude must change, because stroke recovery is possible at any age. The human brain is more adaptable than we think, and older women deserve the same chance at healing and independence as anyone else. What can you do today? Here are some small but powerful steps you can take to protect yourself. Know your numbers. Track your blood pressure regularly. Aim for below 130/80 if possible. Ask your doctor about silent risks, especially atrial fibrillation, which is often missed. Move every day. Even gentle walking helps keep your vessels flexible. Stay mentally active and socially connected. Isolation increases stroke risk more than most people think. Speak up. If you ever feel off, have slurred speech, or feel weak on one side, even if it goes away in minutes, call for help immediately. Aging brings changes, yes, but it also brings wisdom, patience, and the power of choice. Knowing that your age adds to your risk means you also have the power to be proactive before symptoms ever appear. Section 3. Postmenopause hormonal shifts. What happens when estrogen steps off the stage? That's one of the most important questions in stroke prevention for women over 60. Because estrogen isn't just about reproduction. It plays a crucial role in heart and brain health. And when levels drop after menopause, women lose a powerful layer of natural protection. Let's explore why this matters so much, and what you can do about it. Estrogen, more than a reproductive hormone. For decades, researchers have understood that women before menopause have lower rates of heart disease and stroke than men of the same age. Much of that advantage comes from estrogen. Estrogen does many things to protect blood vessels. It keeps the inner lining of arteries, the endothelium, smooth and responsive. It helps manage cholesterol, raising HDL, the good kind, and lowering LDL, the bad kind. It reduces inflammation in the bloodstream. It promotes better circulation by relaxing blood vessels. When estrogen declines sharply during menopause, these benefits begin to fade. Arteries become stiffer, blood pressure rises, and cholesterol profiles often worsen. A closer look at menopause and vascular health. The years just after menopause, typically between ages 50 and 60, are a critical window. During this time, women experience significant shifts in their metabolic and cardiovascular systems. By age 60, many of these changes are well underway. Here's what commonly happens. Blood pressure increases. Loss of estrogen affects the kidneys and arteries, both of which regulate blood pressure. Cholesterol levels change. LDL goes up, HDL goes down. This combination raises the risk for atherosclerosis, weight gain, and insulin resistance. These increase the chance of developing type 2 diabetes, a major stroke risk factor. In essence, the body starts aging faster on the inside, even if you still feel young and active. Estrogen and the brain. Beyond the heart and vessels, estrogen also affects the brain directly. It supports blood flow to the brain, synaptic plasticity, how brain cells communicate, glucose metabolism, how the brain uses energy. Studies suggest that estrogen helps preserve brain structure and function, especially in regions involved in memory and thinking. When estrogen drops, the brain becomes more vulnerable, not just to stroke, but also to cognitive decline and Alzheimer's. Hormone replacement therapy, help or harm? You might be wondering, if estrogen is so beneficial, should I take hormone therapy? This is a very personal decision, and one you should make with your healthcare provider. But here are the key facts. Timing matters. Hormone therapy, HRT, started within 10 years of menopause may have cardiovascular benefits. Age and health status matter. For women over 60, especially those with high blood pressure, smoking history, or clotting disorders, HRT may increase stroke risk. Formulation matters. Estrogen-only therapy, for women without a uterus, may be safer than combined estrogen-progestin therapy. The Women's Health Initiative found increased stroke risk in some HRT users, especially when started late. But more recent data suggests that starting HRT around menopause may have protective effects. Other hormonal changes beyond estrogen. Estrogen isn't the only hormone that changes after menopause. Others also play roles in stroke risk. Progesterone. Its decline may influence sleep and mood. Testosterone. Although present in small amounts in women, changes can affect fat distribution and muscle mass. Cortisol. Stress hormone levels may rise post-menopause, increasing inflammation and blood pressure. Together, these changes can shift your health trajectory subtly, but steadily. Natural ways to support hormonal balance. Even without hormone therapy, there are ways to support your body through this transition. Plant-based phytoestrogens, found in soy, flaxseed, chickpeas, and lentils. These may offer mild estrogen-like effects. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish and flaxseed. These reduce inflammation and support heart and brain health. Regular physical activity. Exercise helps balance insulin, lower blood pressure, and reduce stress. Mind-body practices. Yoga, Tai Chi, and meditation reduce cortisol and improve hormonal harmony. These habits don't replace estrogen, but they help your body adapt more smoothly. The hidden link between menopause and sleep. Many women over 60 report disrupted sleep, waking in the night, trouble falling asleep, or not feeling rested. Sleep problems may seem like a nuisance, but they're also a stroke risk factor. Poor sleep raises blood pressure, increases blood sugar, and impairs immune function. It's also linked to weight gain and depression, both of which increase stroke risk in women. Estrogen helps regulate the sleep cycle. When it declines, sleep disturbances often follow. That's why good sleep hygiene, stress management, and possible treatment for sleep apnea can make a big difference. A new chapter, not the end. Menopause isn't the end of vitality. It's a new chapter, one where knowledge becomes your superpower. By understanding the role of hormones in stroke risk, you can take early action, monitor your health more closely, ask better questions at your doctor's office, build a lifestyle that supports long-term brain and heart health. What should you ask your doctor? Bring up these questions at your next visit. Are my cholesterol and blood pressure at safe levels? Could I benefit from a carotid artery ultrasound or a stroke risk assessment? Is hormone therapy a safe option for me? What are signs of silent strokes or TIAs that I might miss? How can I sleep better without medication? After menopause, stroke risk in women rises, not suddenly, but gradually, through interconnected changes in hormones, vessels, and metabolism. Estrogen once protected your arteries and brain. Now it's your turn to step into that role, with awareness, lifestyle changes, and smart conversations with your doctor. This is not about fear, it's about forward momentum, the kind that keeps you active, independent, and resilient in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Coming up next, we'll take a deep dive into how stroke-related conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, and atrial fibrillation behave differently in women, and how to spot them early. Section 4. Stroke-related conditions in women. Word count: 1,598. Every person carries a unique set of health risks, but for women over 60, certain conditions become more frequent, more impactful, and more complicated. When it comes to stroke, a few key culprits stand out: high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, diabetes, and obesity. These aren't just statistics. They're the quiet companions of aging that slowly change the landscape of the body. In this section, we'll uncover how these conditions behave differently in women, why they elevate stroke risk, and what actions can make the biggest difference. High blood pressure, the silent force. High blood pressure, or hypertension, is the #1 modifiable risk factor for stroke. It damages arteries, promotes clot formation, and strains the heart. But here's what's especially important for women. After menopause, women's blood pressure tends to rise faster than men's. By age 65, more women than men have hypertension. Women are more likely to develop isolated systolic hypertension, which specifically raises stroke risk. This kind of blood pressure pattern is linked to age-related stiffening of the large arteries. It's often missed because people feel fine, even as damage builds quietly in the brain's vascular system. Regular monitoring matters. Even if your blood pressure was always normal in midlife, it's worth checking often after 60. I never had high blood pressure until I turned 68, says Diane, a retired librarian. I thought it was stress. My doctor caught it just in time. Atrial fibrillation, when the heart skips a beat. Atrial fibrillation, AFib, is an irregular heart rhythm that affects millions of older adults. But women with AFib are twice as likely as men to suffer a stroke. Why the difference? Women tend to develop AFib at older ages, when the brain is more vulnerable. AFib-related strokes are often more severe in women. Women may be underdiagnosed because they report less obvious symptoms like fatigue or anxiety. AFib causes blood to pool in the heart's upper chambers, increasing the risk of clots that can travel to the brain. The good news? AFib can be managed with medication, like blood thinners, rhythm control treatments, or lifestyle changes. But first, it must be detected. An EKG or a wearable monitor can help your doctor find even occasional episodes. Type 2 diabetes, a stronger hit for women. Diabetes is another heavy hitter. It raises stroke risk by promoting inflammation, damaging blood vessels, and increasing clot risk. But it hits women harder than men. Studies show that women with diabetes have a 27% higher relative risk of stroke compared to men with diabetes. This could be due to worse metabolic control in women, greater insulin resistance, a stronger link between diabetes and high blood pressure in women. Diabetes also contributes to other stroke-related conditions like obesity, kidney disease, and nerve damage. Obesity and metabolic syndrome. After menopause, many women notice changes in body composition, more abdominal fat, slower metabolism, and less muscle mass. These aren't just cosmetic shifts, they signal deeper metabolic changes. Obesity, especially belly fat, is linked to higher levels of inflammatory markers and insulin resistance. It's also closely tied to high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, a hidden stroke risk. Metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that includes high blood sugar, high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol, and abdominal fat, is more common in older women than men. What's the impact? Women with metabolic syndrome are 2 to 4 times more likely to have a stroke. Depression and anxiety, hidden influencers. Mental health plays a major role too. Older women are more likely than men to experience depression and anxiety. and these conditions affect stroke risk in subtle but powerful ways. They increase inflammation and stress hormones like cortisol. They may lead to poor sleep, inactivity, and missed medications. They raise blood pressure and impair heart rhythm. More than just emotional issues, these are physiological states that affect your blood vessels and your brain. Treating depression or anxiety isn't just about mood. It's stroke prevention. The danger of underdiagnosis and undertreatment. Many women are diagnosed later, or treated less aggressively, for these stroke-related conditions. That might be due to atypical symptoms, e.g. fatigue instead of chest pain. Focus on caregiving rather than personal health. Ageism or assumptions about normal aging. This is why advocacy matters. Knowing your numbers, asking questions, and following up are essential. Don't dismiss your symptoms. If something feels off, speak up. What should you track? Start with these key health markers. Blood pressure. Aim for 130/80 mmHg. Fasting glucose or A1C to monitor blood sugar. Cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. Heart rhythm, especially if you feel palpitations or fatigue. Waist circumference, a good indicator of metabolic risk. Keep a notebook or app to log your readings and bring them to your appointments. What can you do today? Schedule your annual checkup. Don't skip it. Ask your doctor about stroke risk assessment. Walk 30 minutes a day, even in short bursts. Eat more fiber and fewer processed carbs. Prioritize sleep and manage stress through deep breathing, journaling, or nature walks. Small actions, done consistently, are more powerful than big plans left undone. Real stories, real strength. Carol, age 74, was shocked when her blood pressure reached 160/90. "I always felt fine," she said. "But after learning about women's stroke risk, I started taking it seriously. I changed my salt intake, walked with a neighbor, and brought my numbers down in 6 months." Stories like Carol's are reminders. Change is possible at any age. Conditions like high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, and diabetes don't just increase stroke risk. They do so in ways that are more intense and more often overlooked in women. But knowledge is power. By understanding how these conditions affect you specifically as a woman over 60, you gain the tools to take control through prevention, early detection, and daily habits. Coming up next, we'll explore the lifestyle, nutrition, and mental well-being strategies that support a stroke-resistant life. Section 5. Lifestyle, nutrition, and mental well-being. If stroke is the fire, then lifestyle is the fuel, and also the extinguisher. For women over 60, stroke risk doesn't just come from genetics or aging. It also builds, slowly and quietly, through daily habits. But here's the good news. Those habits can be reshaped, and the results can be life-changing. In this section, we'll explore how what you eat, how you move, how you rest, and how you manage stress can significantly lower your risk of stroke, even if you've already been diagnosed with a related condition like high blood pressure or diabetes. Nutrition. What you eat shapes your arteries. Food is more than fuel. It's a form of medicine. The right foods nourish your blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and balance cholesterol and blood sugar. The best choices for stroke prevention. Leafy greens. Kale, spinach, and arugula are high in folate, magnesium, and potassium, nutrients that help lower blood pressure. Berries. Rich in antioxidants and flavonoids that improve circulation and brain function. Fatty fish. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, packed with omega-3s that reduce inflammation and support heart health. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, chia, flax. They stabilize blood sugar and support vascular health. Whole grains, oats, quinoa, brown rice, help regulate blood pressure and improve digestion. What to minimize or avoid? Excess salt. Aim for less than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. Added sugars. Found in processed foods and sweetened beverages, they spike blood sugar and promote inflammation. Processed meats. Bacon, sausage, and deli meats raise sodium and saturated fat intake. Refined carbs. White bread, pastries, and sugary cereals cause insulin spikes. Cooking at home more often and reading labels can empower you to take control. After I started cooking with more herbs and less salt, I felt better in just a few weeks, says Elaine, age 70. My blood pressure dropped, and I had more energy. Movement, the vascular booster. You don't have to run marathons to protect your brain. Even light movement improves circulation, reduces clot risk, and supports a healthy heart rhythm. Smart ways to stay active. Daily walking. Aim for 20-30 minutes, or break it into 10-minute walks. Strength training. Light resistance bands or small weights preserve muscle mass. Balance exercises. Tai Chi or yoga improve coordination and prevent falls. Stretching. Keeps muscles and joints fluid and reduces stiffness. Consistency matters more than intensity. Movement doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be regular. Sleep, the brain's night shift. Sleep is when the brain clears toxins, consolidates memory, and restores blood vessels. Poor sleep raises stroke risk, especially in women. Tips for better rest. Stick to a schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time daily. Limit screen time. Avoid devices 1 hour before bed. Create a calming routine. Warm bath, herbal tea, or light reading. Watch your caffeine. Limit coffee after 2 p.m. Get screened for sleep apnea, especially if you snore or feel tired despite a full night's sleep. Stress, the hidden stroke accelerator. Chronic stress increases cortisol, blood pressure, and blood sugar. Women, especially caregivers or widows, may carry emotional loads that quietly harm their health. Simple tools to reduce stress. Deep breathing. Just 5 minutes can lower your heart rate. Journaling. Write about what you're grateful for. Nature time. Walks in green spaces reduce anxiety and blood pressure. Meditation or prayer. Helps calm the nervous system and sharpen focus. Connect with others. Social isolation increases stroke risk. A phone call or shared coffee can change your day. Mindful living, your daily anchor. Small rituals create big shifts. Whether it's setting a morning intention, preparing nourishing meals, or winding down with a sunset walk, these moments build a sense of steadiness. I light a candle and stretch for 5 minutes each morning. It centers me, says Ruth, 67. My doctor says my blood pressure's the best it's been in years. Supplements. Do they help? Some supplements may support stroke prevention, but always check with your healthcare provider. Magnesium supports blood pressure and vascular tone. Omega-3, if you don't eat fish regularly. Vitamin D, low levels linked to increased stroke risk. CoQ10, may support heart function if you're on statins. Avoid megadoses and choose high-quality brands verified by independent labs. Building a lifestyle that lasts. True health isn't about restriction, it's about rhythm. Your body thrives on predictability and care. Eat real food most of the time. Move in ways that feel joyful. Sleep with intention. Manage stress like it matters, because it does. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. A personalized wellness plan. Every woman's journey is unique. Ask your doctor to help tailor a prevention plan. What should I focus on based on my numbers? How can I modify exercise if I have arthritis or limited mobility? What resources are available in my community? Even modest changes can yield powerful results over time. Lifestyle is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. With each step you take, each meal you prepare, each moment you breathe deeply, you build resilience. You reduce stroke risk, and you claim your future. Next, we'll wrap up this journey by bringing everything together, reflecting on what we've learned and how you can keep moving forward. Section 6, your stroke prevention blueprint. After exploring the key reasons why women over 60 are more at risk for stroke, age, hormones, medical conditions, and lifestyle, it's time to bring everything together. Think of this section as your personal guidebook, a simple, empowering, and actionable blueprint for reducing stroke risk in your everyday life. Whether you're starting from scratch or just fine-tuning, this section will help you design a stroke prevention strategy tailored to your needs. Step 1. Know your numbers. Knowledge is the foundation of prevention. These 5 health metrics give a clear picture of your risk. Blood pressure. Target is below 130/80 mean Hg. Blood sugar, A1C. Aim for below 5.7% if non-diabetic. Cholesterol. LDL, bad. 100 milliliter DL. HDL, good. 50 mg/dL. Waist circumference, under 35 inches for women. Resting heart rate, typically 60-100 BPM. Track these regularly, at home or with your doctor. Use a notebook, app, or even a calendar to stay engaged. It was empowering to see my numbers improve. I didn't feel stuck anymore, said Linda, 73. Step 2. Build your daily rhythm. Stroke prevention thrives on routine, not restriction. Set a rhythm that fits your lifestyle and energy. Morning, light stretches, a glass of water, and blood pressure reading. Midday, a heart-healthy lunch with leafy greens and whole grains. Afternoon, a short walk, gardening, or light chores. Evening, tech-free wind down, herbal tea, and gratitude journaling. Daily structure trains your body and lowers stress, a win for brain and heart. Step 3. Optimize medical support. Doctors are your partners. Come prepared. Bring your logs, blood pressure, glucose, symptoms. Ask focused questions. What's my stroke risk right now? Advocate for screenings, especially carotid artery ultrasound, AFib checks, or cognitive assessments. Review medications yearly, especially blood pressure meds, statins, and blood thinners. Let your provider know if you've had side effects or concerns. Step 4. Reinforce nutrition principles. Use the 80-20 rule. Eat health-supportive foods 80% of the time and allow space for enjoyment. Weekly goals. 5+ servings of vegetables. 2 servings of fatty fish. Limit sodium and processed snacks. Drink water throughout the day. Batch cooking, freezer meals, or meal delivery services can help keep healthy eating consistent. Step 5. Reimagine movement. Forget perfection, just move. Here's a weekly movement menu. 3 days walking, 20-30 minutes. 2 days strength, resistance bands, body weight. 1 to 2 days, balance, stretching, Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates. Joint pain? Try water aerobics or chair exercises. Movement adapts with you. I started walking with friends on Tuesdays. It became the highlight of my week, shared Janet, 69. Step 6. Stay mentally sharp and socially connected. Social and mental well-being are medical necessities, not extras. Try these weekly brain boosters. Learn something new. Language, instrument, online course, play games, crossword puzzles, Sudoku or card games. Connect. Phone call, lunch date or club activity. Journal. Reflect on the day's joys, thoughts, and goals. Cognitive engagement protects the brain and enhances emotional balance. Step 7. Build your emergency awareness. Make a stroke action plan. Keep this information handy. Recognize FAST, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, time to call 911. Emergency contact list, family, doctor, neighbor. Medical ID, on your phone or wallet. Share this plan with family or caregivers, so they know what to do. Step 8. Refresh monthly. Each month, set a small goal based on what matters most now. January, lower salt intake. February, start balance exercises. March, ask doctor about blood sugar. April, begin gratitude journaling. May, plant a herb garden for brain-healthy meals. These mini goals keep things fresh and help you stay engaged without overwhelm. Final thoughts. Stroke prevention is not a single decision. It's the result of small, loving choices, made again and again. Each meal, each breath, each morning stretch is an investment in your independence, your clarity, your joy. You are not powerless, you are wise, you are resilient, and you are deeply worthy of the care it takes to live well. Healthcare is a daily journey. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be consistent. If you found this guide helpful, please share it with your loved ones. Subscribe to Healthy Aging to stay inspired every day.